For more on the election, I'm joined by Peter Hakim. He's President Emeritus and a Senior Fellow at the Inter-American Dialogue. Peter, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
This is an all-important election for the people of Colombia. On the right, we have Iván Duque, and on the left, Gustavo Petro. Who is more likely to win at this point?
Well, it looks like Iván Duque is very likely to win for two reasons. He came out considerably ahead during the first round, and I suspect that voters for the other candidates are going to break more heavily for him. So he should win by a good margin.
Mm-hmm. Iván Duque is considered a conservative candidate. He once said that he would reverse parts of the peace deal signed between Bogota and the FARC. What would that mean for Colombia's security situation and the peace deal?
Well, Iván Duque has a close relationship to former President Uribe. Uribe has been one of the most outspoken critics of the agreement. That's his main issue these days, and he's a senator. He's likely to be head of the Senate, so he's an important figure. My guess is, however, I think it's going to be very hard to change the agreement very much. It's been very difficult to implement the current agreement. To both implement an agreement, and a lot to do to implement it, and beyond what is sort of controversial in the agreement, and to also change the agreement at the same time that Colombians seem to think that other issues are far more important. The economy, for example, corruption, security issues more broadly. And so my guess is that if Iván Duque, from what I know and understand, a very smart, intelligent, practical man, is going to want to establish himself, his authority, by sort of going after all of these issues. And massive changes to the peace accord, I don't think is in the cards.
Right, Peter, that really leads to my next question, because on the campaign trail, we saw the candidates campaign on such issues as economy, housing, corruption. How do you think a Duque presidency will solve those economic issues?
Well, I think he's going to start from a more conservative position. But by and large, Colombia on many of these issues has had more agreement. What's divided the country more than anything has been precisely the peace agreement, the how to deal with the FARC, how to deal with what happens after there's an agreement between the FARC and the government. I think that he has to bridge the gap in the country, which is sort of a divided, polarized country these days. And the best way to do it, in my view, is to attack these other issues and sort of manage effectively the peace agreement. Mm-hmm. The question is not what the agreement contains, it's getting it done. And that's been the big problem that Santos, the current president, has faced, his inability to manage that very well.
Peter Hakim, thanks so much for your insight.